What truly bothered the woman wasn't the young couple across the street. It was her own aging. Her husband understood her feelings because he felt the same way. They both admitted they were entering middle age, but at least they had each other. Yet, even as they embraced, the woman couldn't help but glance toward the window, her eyes drawn to the couple across the street. Christmas came, and the woman decorated the house with festive cheer. But with the kids running around and chores piling up, she couldn't fully enjoy it. Across the street, the young couple was throwing a lively party, laughing and drinking without a care in the world. For a moment, she forgot about her own responsibilities, until the sound of her child crying snapped her back to reality. Her husband had lost interest in spying on the neighbors, but the woman couldn't stop herself. Even during meals, she'd sneak glances across the street. While putting the kids to bed, she'd hold a pair of binoculars, unable to resist the temptation. Her husband noticed but didn't scold her. Instead, he quietly went back to their room, making just enough noise to remind her he was there. The young couple across the street had become a sweet trap, pulling the middle-aged couple further apart. The woman couldn't sleep, so she got up and tiptoed to the living room. Without her husband around, she pushed open the door and stepped onto the balcony for a clearer view. But this time, the young couple wasn't laughing or partying. They sat in silence, looking troubled. The woman couldn't help but wonder what was wrong. The next day, while making lunch, the woman kept stealing glances across the street. Her husband noticed her strange behavior and followed her gaze. The young man across the street looked seriously ill. His hair was gone, and he seemed frail. The couple watched, curious and concerned. When their kids started causing a ruckus, the husband went to check on them, but the woman remained fixated on the neighbors. Days later, she looked across the street and saw the young man lying in a hospital bed, his eyes closed. His father kissed his forehead while others stood by, wiping away tears. The man lay motionless, and the woman's heart ached. Just then, the doorbell rang. It was the dry cleaner delivering their clothes. When she looked back, the young woman had climbed into bed beside the man, resting her head on his chest. That night, the man's body was zipped into a bag and taken away, likely to a funeral home. As someone who had watched their lives for years, the woman felt she owed them some comfort. After a moment's hesitation, she approached the young woman, offering her condolences. To her surprise, the young woman recognized her immediately. Through their conversation, the woman learned something unexpected. While she had been enviously watching the young couple's passionate life, they had been watching her too, longing for the kind of stable, loving family she had. She had 3 adorable children who brought endless joy, and though her husband was busy with work, he always apologized after arguments and quietly supported her through her emotional ups and downs. They might not be rich, but their simple life was its own kind of happiness. Happiness comes in many forms. Life is like standing on a bridge, admiring the scenery, while someone in a building admires you. When you envy someone else's life, chances are someone is envying yours too. The woman returned home, speechless. Only then did she realize how much she had overlooked the happiness in her own life. That evening, her husband came home with their 3 kids, filling the house with warmth and laughter. Outside, the bustling street contrasted with the cozy glow of their home, where a family of 5 lived a simple yet fulfilling life. The woman walked to the window, but this time, she didn't look across the street with envy. Instead, she smiled, finally content with what she had.